In this video, I want to discuss literacy, more specifically multimodal literacy. So that's just basically understanding words on a document. And sometimes those words will have high vocabulary, complex phrases, uh, longer sentence patterns, and obviously it could appear in various ways. I mean, it could be essay format, which the text is cluttered onto the page and arranged in paragraphs, and there's very little creative use of white space. Or it could be more of the bullet style presentation of information, where white space is used more effectively in terms of arranging blocks of information for you, and you can read that material a little faster. It's a little easier at a glance to see where the information lies. But you're still dealing with words on a page. But then what of words on a computer file, words on a website, words on a graph? What about video lecture, right? So this is a type of literacy too, because you are receiving information via words and you're trying to figure out how to arrange the information, how to rank it, what you can skip over, what you can't. So, you know, there's some important things at play here. Your speed, your ability to track when the information is coming at you at a fast pace, your understanding of the different layers that this can take. It could be literal, it can be figurative, it could be ironic, it could be a lot of things, couldn't it? Also, your own ability to produce the literary artifact is going to be tested here as well. So that's really what this type of learning is going to be arranged around for much of your college experience. Now, towards the end of your 3 or 4 years or 5 years here, and if you have a certain type of degree, you might be moving more to practicum or lab work or things like that, but you're still going to be having a lot to do with assessing, understanding, and producing artifacts of literacy. Okay, whether again that's website, reports, papers, presentations, that sort of thing. So, and that is, by the way, when you look at our textbook for the reading and study skills, that's what that book really is kind of all about. It's giving you strategies to deal with this word flow, right? So, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's as if you're going to be asked to run a marathon now. And you don't really train effectively for a marathon if you try to just train for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or 8 weeks all at once and expect to just somehow be ready for that event. You see this phenomenon quite a bit when it comes to learning a new sport or exercising. I guess I'll stick with the marathon thing. You know, people might get very excited about a proposed diet or a weight loss system or a fitness system, you know, just taking care of your body, maybe growing some muscle. And they will invest initially heavily up front by maybe buying that gym membership or getting the weight set. And then, you know, for maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month, maybe even 2 months, there's this energy there, there's this excitement. But then the thing peters away, falls off, and, you know, people fall off the path, right? And the exercise machine is getting dust in the corner of that room. The treadmill hasn't been turned on for 2 months because there's not a life pattern of seeking health and fitness. Now, I don't want to draw too bleak of a picture because, you know, people change and people make life-changing decisions when they're 20, 30, 40, and they stick to it, you know. So sometimes you might have the fortunate, you know, experience of being able to make that sort of decision. But it's hard. It's hard. As opposed to growing up with patterns of, say, healthy eating or fitness and just over a long length of time learning that discipline. Now that I think about it, maybe using a sports metaphor is perhaps a little bit better. Someone when they're 10, 11, or 12, discovers a certain sport. It's hard to imagine this in America, but let's just say it's basketball. And all of a sudden they fall in love with the sport and they want to play it and practice it every day and whatnot. Unfortunately, they're a little too late. Too little, too late, right? I mean, if they want to really, if they're not bursting with natural talent, right? Golf is like this, by the way. If you're not bursting with natural talent, you started too late to really think in terms of a professional career, right? Very, very few people can do something like that. You need to start when you're 3 or 4 years old. And of course, there are always the exceptions, but you know what I mean. And what I'm getting at with this is, when it comes to being able to study the way you're going to be asked to study, to access the information the way you're going to be asked to access the information by your teachers here at college, if you haven't been preparing for this, it can be overwhelming and it can be very hard. Okay, so I want to sort of acknowledge the reality of the situation and say, look, maybe you should start now building habits of literacy, and in 10 years you can reap the fruit. So if you're taking this class and trying to learn these habits because you want immediate success this semester and get better grades, you may or may not. I mean, there might be things that kind of work for a little bit and help you get a better grade. But if you want that long-term success as a thinker and as a person that is highly literate, okay, you need to put in the time. And I'm obviously I'm asking all my students to listen to this, but I want to ensure you that it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And if you feel any inclination to that, any sort of spark of interest, or if you want that, if you can envision that goal 10 years from now, right? 10 years from now. And if you can imagine how powerful you'll be in terms of a thinker, of understanding your culture, being able to be at home, a professional, if you will, in the world of information, and how that can help your career, that can help your life, that can help your search for truth, then I want you to consider what I'm about to say. All right, now, I mentioned a textbook, but I may be talking to a class that is not using that particular textbook. So this is a video, this is an activity I try to bring across all my classes. Now, I do have a reading and study skill class, and that really has the textbook I was talking about. But you might have an English handbook or something like that, and that's trying to teach you literacy as well. So, regardless of whether or not we're using a textbook in this class, or, you're in college and you're trying to learn how to become a master of information. And because of the way we present it to and share it amongst ourselves in the democratization of knowledge, it's going to be in some form of document. Oral document. A document is anything that can be replayed, that's in a fixed format, that can be shared with a public audience, can be copied, right? So it's copyrighted, which means this video is technically a document. That's why it'll show up in your documentation page if you cite it or use it, right? Because that's where you go to document. So I do refer to, words on a page, but also the concept is much broader. So I am trying to introduce what I'm going to do next in the next video, and that is to encourage you to become a better reader. And you may have heard this all your life, right? Readers are leaders, or whatever, the silly thing is. But I have found in my life that is true, and not so much the leadership ability, but through independent reading, a mix of fiction, but at this point, for these purposes, largely nonfiction, I feel like I have advanced leagues beyond my PhD, and I feel like I'm in my second, third, fourth education. and I've become hooked. And you know, I don't read all the time. I don't listen to audiobooks all the time, but it's at the point now where it's a part of my life discipline, because I know what it can do to you as someone who's searching for the truth and trying to be human in the realm of ideas. All right, which is your calling. So, you know, I watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of documentaries. I read a lot, and I listen to audiobooks. And you know, I want to encourage you to start something like that. And it's going to involve material that is not something that's part of your regular college curriculum. These aren't textbooks. Who remembers a textbook as a narrative experience, as a good story? But just wait till you get to some of these stories that teach you something about geography or the oceans or people, the workforce. Incredible, right? So in the next video, I'm going to share with you the books I want. I'm not going to have this be an open-ended assignment where you can just pick anything. I will have a list of 8 books that I want you to use. You'll need to pick one of those books to read. And then I'll have a list of 8 books that can be found as audiobooks, and I want you to find one of those books to listen to. And let's just see how you handle that. But I'll give you the names of those books in the second video related to this assignment.